What made you want to pursue consulting, in freshman year? And also like to take a step back, like what made you want to like apply to Berkeley and eventually
Hmm.
go to school here?
Mm. I think like throughout my entire life, I like had to figure out like, oh, like although I'm going to different clubs, doing different things, there's probably a theme in like what I move towards. And so the theme was always problem solving, which is why consulting made sense to me.
Right.
But also the fact that I always think about things in terms of like I don't want to just like make an impact. I kind of like amplifying impact, right?
Oh,
Like
interesting. Yeah.
I've never cared about like what I'm doing more than like how I'm doing it. Like the
Mm,
how part is the most fascinating part to me. And what I mean by that is that like I could be doing student government and that would be super fun, but I could also be consulting not for nonprofits and that would be equally as fun. But the part that I care more about is like how I'm approaching both roles and making sure that like I'm being super like effective with the time I have and
right.
making the best impact I can. So for example, I love the term like capacity building because the term capacity building is like you're not making a new nonprofit to solve a problem, you're like helping existing nonprofits build capacity to do what they love, right? And
Mm,
so I love the idea of capacity building. And I think throughout my entire life, I'm like, how can I like help others do what they're doing better, right? How could I build bridges to help like people be better at what they're doing? And I think that's like a connector throughout my entire life. And
mm,
then also is that like I think consulting is a really good career where you just like want to learn as much as you want and then like like just be able to drive impact that way and you really get to deep dive and learn really interesting things. Um but I think like I've also been thinking about what is my methodology for impact, right? Like after consulting, what do I want to do? Like, do you want me to talk about that now?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I mean, I'm actually applying to the Truman Scholarship right now. And so the Truman Scholarship, for those unfamiliar, is like it's a fully funded graduate education program for after undergrad. So for example, I want to go to like Harvard Kennedy School, they'll pay for my MPP there as long as I enter the a like public field after getting the degree. And so when they asked me like, oh, like what do you want to do with in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, my answer is always like I think my methodology for impact is like when you put someone who is able to work with private sector, public sector, and also like government sector, then you have someone who can tackle challenges that transcend all three sectors, right? And I
Hmm.
think that's very true for any problem that like they always it's not defined by each sector, right? It's a
Right.
problem that affects everyone. And so my methodology is that like I want to be in a place where I could build bridges between all three sectors or solve problems and create partnerships between all of them. And I think that's like super, super fun.
Yeah, that's super